Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by our lovely Anime Addicts community, keeping this podcast ad-free. If you want to help support the show, get all of our exclusive content, free access to the Discord, show notes, and of course that warm feeling you get inside when you do a good thing, you can go to our Patreon page, or you can go to our website, AAAPodcast.com/join. That'll get you to where you can support the show. You get all of our exclusive goodies. And again, you'll be helping out your favorite podcast. And now, it's time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Everyone to another toe-tapping, finger-snapping episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. My name is Mason, and we've got the ever-consistent team of Caroline and Andrew in the house today. How are you guys doing? It's a lovely Sunday morning. Caroline's drinking some beverage of liquid variety.
It's coffee that has gotten cold.
Oh, off to a rough start. And Andrew...
No, it's okay.
I can't see what he's up to. He could be completely in the nude because he's on that Sigma grind set of doing the podcast while on vacation in another country, and thus has no access to webcam. So he will be an elusive mystery to those who are joining us on the stream today. But Andrew, how's it going? Are you drinking any beverage?
I am not drinking any beverage, although I should be. And also, you say I'm in some other country, like I'm in some foreign place. I'm in the U.S.
You're also in the state about as close as possible to Canada. But I was trying to give you some more exotic points, and unfortunately...
No, I'm not that crazy. If I was on a Fiji vacation, I would not be recording the podcast. Well, maybe. No, probably.
I would like to bring up the possibility that we have no idea if you are actually Frigimon fanatic, considering we cannot see your face. So how do we know this is not AI. Just a pre-recorded AI pre-recorded version of you?
Sequence invalid, unsure response.
Reboot.
I am rebooting. Hey folks, how's it going? It's me, your hostess with the mostest, Andrew.
Nope. That was worse.
Technology.
Anyway.
So advanced.
Adjusting parameters. Oh my god, Mason, you are literally so esoteric and weird. Man, you're the worst.
Dial down the negativity by 8% and you've got me. But
Friggy, may I suggest that at many points throughout this episode, you just go beep, reboot.
We'll see.
No, that's not a good idea.
We'll see how that might get annoying to the listeners.
Yeah, every beep,
but it would make me laugh.
There's been so many times where I've been like, oh, this drop would be really great with like a police siren sound effect, and I'm like, every time that happens in a song when I'm driving, I hate that. So we're not going to do that to the listeners today.
All right.
Anyway, as you might have heard me mention, we have a new streaming time. So from this episode 794 forward, for the time being, we're going to be starting the podcast live every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. And I understand that there's a lot of listeners who like listening live who aren't able to make this new time. Believe me, I understand. That said, you can still find the full versions. It'll still go up on YouTube, and you can hear our crystal clear best audio version on the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. So that still exists. And there's probably a lot of new people who wasn't able to join us in the past that can now come over to Twitch and YouTube and join the fun live. So if you are able to and you want to, doors are always welcome. Just Google it. You'll find that where the stream is. Join us on Discord. You can find where the stream is there and all that good stuff. We have a lot of stuff to get through for the housekeeping today. First of all being, we got Anime Club. It still happens in Discord. Yeah. What's the latest? How did the GTO talk go?
The GTO talk went pretty well. but only a few people showed up, and that's getting really disappointing. Like, because we used to have so many people in Anime Club during our heyday. That heyday being when there was a international pandemic going on, and nobody else had anything else to do. That really helped. Unfortunately, can't do that again. So, what we are really calling for is anybody that is at all interested in having, some casual anime discussion fun. Please join us at Anime Club. Wednesdays, 9 p.m. ET. Every other Wednesday. Though, again, it's in the plans to make that change so we can, rejuvenate it a little bit.
When is this change happening? We keep talking about this change.
I know. The change will happen whenever I get my butt down and make a Google form and have everybody take it and figure out when is the best day for everybody. But that will happen eventually. It may happen longer than I say, but anywho, we are still meeting on every other Wednesday, 9 p.m. EDT, and the next club will be September 10th. And this time we are going to have first for Anime Club, we're going to have a watch party. So there is no need to watch anything beforehand. We are just going to have a relaxed hangout, watch a few episodes of a show together, and this meeting will be Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju, a podcast favorite. It's amazing. We'll watch a few episodes of it, chat here and there, and this is not going to be every Anime Club. We are still going to have mostly discussion clubs, but we're just switching things up a little bit, and I think this will be a fun time. So hopefully people will join us, get acquainted with club, and maybe become new regulars.
Yeah, so, it's always a good time. Check it out. I think the biggest problem, Caroline, is 2025 has been too good for anime. There's been so much good stuff coming out that people haven't had to be like, there's nothing to watch. I guess I'll do Anime Club. So nonetheless, check out the Discord. It's a fun time. And in this episode today, we are doing a fun main topic, at least I hope it will be, which is the Anime Thanos Snap, which will be a fun little game of deciding which anime we are going to blip into non-existence and which ones we will save for all eternity, as well as a review of Apocalypse Hotel. But before we get to all of that, we have the announcements of the listener choice voting submissions for the summer 2025 season. So the top 3 shows that you guys vote for make the list, but we got some honorable mentions that we'll give, starting with the number 5 most popular pick show, which is Nukutashi, the animation, with 21.3% of the vote. The perverts, you guys didn't come to the polls. You didn't come out in force, and we'll not be reviewing that show, but 21.3 is no shabby score. The number 4 show and the first runner-up, also not being reviewed, is Kaiju number 8, season 2, with 24.1% of the vote. So still respectable, but yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that. So the 3 shows that we will be adding to our review docket from the listener choice, starting with
number 3,
My Dress Up Darling season 2, 29.6% of the vote. So no surprise. Caroline, I know you were on the episode, I think, where it got failed.
Yeah.
Were you expecting this to come back?
It was an all right show. I liked the first season and I still like the second season, but I just didn't see it, pulling ahead of all the other things that we have passed. However, in recent episodes of My Dress Up Darling, I'm like, frick, yeah, this season rocks.
We're so
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm glad this made it. Moving on.
Number 2.
With 35.2% of the vote, Otaku's big campaign paid off. It's Clevites, which is one we did not even do impressions on, but I think he was a big fan of it, and I think he was campaigning for Mitz to watch it as well, so he gets his pick. And
number 1,
a late addition to the poll, but it still came out in the end, Takopi's Original Sin, with 41.3% of the votes. We will be adding all those shows to our review docket and actually doing a review of one of them in just a few weeks. So get excited for that, and thank you all who voted and participated. And if you didn't participate, things were close.
Participate next time.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, next time,
folks. I'm so sad you didn't vote vending machine supremacy. I am much disappointed.
I wonder where that landed on the poll.
Yeah, I didn't get the latest screenshot from Mitz to see, but Do you really want to know the number? Do you really want to see how many ditches it got? We'll see. With that, big news of the week.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Caroline, do you want to start us off?
Hold on, I'm texting my mom.
Okay, I'll go. I got a little bit of industry news, only because I feel like so often when we're talking about the industry as a whole, it tends to be pretty pessimistic, pretty negative on doom and gloom. And this was a story that, while pretty minor in the big scope of things, it still was like, yes, this is a step in the right direction. And that is Toei Animation establishes a new studio in Osaka. They announced that they will be establishing a new production base in Osaka to further expand their production work, recruit talented artists in the Kansai region, and strengthen ties with the local community. And the last one sounds a little bit kind of just, I don't know, corporate politicking of just, oh, it's a goodwill thing. But really, in the end, I like the idea of more anime studios going up and not being located just in Tokyo, getting to reach out to a wider net of people who might not be able to travel to the city or relocate, and give them, as the industry executive says in their little pitch, that they can choose their work location, they support more flexible and creative working styles, and really just reach out to more talent across Japan. I think is nothing but a good thing for the economy, the industry, everything as a whole. And I would love for just Japan to kind of get out of the cities and just to new places that exist. I'm not saying Osaka is some, not major metropolis as well. Like, it's a major city, but it's a trend of moving outwards, which I think will be good as a whole. So, you guys have any thoughts on the matter?
Not really. Yay.
Perfect. More places for more animators. I'm not complaining. What do you got, Caroline?
Crunchyroll has announced it has added Senpai is an Otonoko, I always have trouble saying that. It's Otoko Noko. Sunshine After the Rain, the sequel film to the television anime. The service is streaming the movie as 4 episodes, and it premiered in Japan on February 14th. So I did not actually watch this anime until it was brought up for the R Anime Awards. And so since we were part of that category, I, did some homework and I decided to watch it. And surprisingly, a very good show. So I will plan to watch the film at some point.
And for those with maybe not a discerning ear, Otokonoko is not Nokotan. This is not a sequel to the Deer comedy thing. This is a very separate work. So don't get your hopes up if you were looking for that.
It basically, I think, what is it? Sort of like cross-dresser?
Yeah.
Or someone in that range, effectively.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Nice. You know me. I love me my movies. Andrew, any big news from you?
Yeah. So my big news of the week is Gundam related, and I thought it was really funny. And it was just random. And, I'm usually not the one to pick news for the podcast because by the time I pick, all the good stuff is already taken. And, all that kind of fun stuff, as I have to reopen my Anime News Network article. It's being all weird with the human verification captcha. I am a human, obviously. Duh.
The plot
Sure.
I know. It's weird.
Only a bot would say something like that.
So apparently Bandai is deciding to make the Mandala Gundam from G Gundam, which either is reviewed or spoiler is going to be reviewed on Shonen Showdown. So that's a little crossover appeal there and get that in. But yeah, so they're going to make the Mandala Gundam. And so G Gundam is one of the series known for being a little eclectic, a little weird, a little fun with its Gundam designs and specifically their Gundam naming. Those of you from the good old days of Toonami may not remember it as the Tequila Gundam, but we've all seen Neo Mexico's Gundam, the Tequila Gundam, which, then we also have, Gundam Maxter and all that fun stuff. But they decided to go with Mandala Gundam, which is one of those weird ones because it wasn't that particularly big in the show itself. It doesn't have really a lot of plot relevance. The character from it becomes sort of like a pseudo leader in the fight in the final battle. But for the most part, it's just why I didn't think. And here it's called the Mandor Gundam, but it was called the Mandala Gundam in the show itself. And actually, I'm just very curious why they would make something like this, because it's such a weird, silly, eclectic design. And there's so many other ones from G Gundam, which they already did kind of make a whole bunch that look really cool, but I guess they just really needed some new Gundam models, and maybe the G-Quax models are just not that marketable. Who knows? But yeah, that's my news of the week. They're making the Mandala Gundam, and pre-orders are already up as of a week ago, actually 10 days ago. So, yeah.
I mean, for about $20, I like this little guy. I've never seen the show. I have no connection, but the version where you can like stick his hands out through the bell is very funny, and I love that.
Defense mode. Yeah.
Very spherical boy. I like it. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be curious how. It doesn't look like it's a full build. But anyway.
What do you mean it's not a full build?
Like,
Sorry.
There's this like little screenshot where like the pieces are laid out, and I can't tell if that's just like the weapon customization stuff, or is like you actually build the base of the thing. I'm assuming it's the later, but it looks like it's very custom. I don't know.
That base itself, the base itself there, you see that orange glow if you look at the article, that's probably not included. That's just a standard Gundam base that you can buy. Or are you talking about the image above it with, oh, maybe it does come with the base. Never mind.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I'm wondering how...
those are just all the pieces that come with it, probably, for a lot of the different customization options.
Yeah, more customization, not the build pieces. But anyway,
which isn't surprising. They like a lot of posability.
Fun. Cool.
All right.
We love it.
Onward, forward.
Onward to the main topic, which is, as I click the button to get us there, the blip. The big Thanos Anime Snap. So, the way this game is going to work is that I have assembled a bunch of different categories, and I've picked 8 shows for each of those said categories. And assuming that we were living in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or I guess just the Marvel Universe, Big Bad Thanos has come to town and is going to snap his fingers, and half of the shows on the list, so if each of these lists are 8 shows, 4 of them are going to disappear. And I'm going to put it through an algorithm. I'll pull it through AndrewBot.jpg to make a list that randomly distributes the 8 shows into 4 lists, and we're going to argue for which of the 2 lists of 4 shows we want to save. Does that make sense? I said that about as obtusely as possible, but essentially we're going to pick which grouping of 4 shows we'd want to preserve in our hearts and minds and memories and anime forever, whereas the other 4 are just obliterated from this earth. Sound good?
All right, let's get to obliterating.
Yeah, and we'll take a vote, and whoever wins, wins. So let's begin with the 2020s, because I think that's more interesting. So I went onto the internet. I found the 8 biggest shows, I guess you will, of the 2020s so far, and I'm going to put them through this little randomizer. Let me share my screen so people can see what we're looking at. We're going to put them through, and we're going to hit the random button, and we're going to hit run. And the shows that we have are, I put in an enter. Hold, please. Here we go. So the shows on the list are My Dress Up Darling, Jujutsu Kaisen, Kaguya-sama, Solo Leveling in Group 1. And in the second group is Horimiya, Frieren, Chainsaw Man, and Spy Family. So, if you had to choose one of these to preserve, what would it be?
I think I would have to go with Group 1 with My Dress Up Darling, Kaguya, Jujutsu Kaisen, Solo Leveling.
Man,
it's okay, Mason. I know what I'm keeping Group 2.
I think
you agree?
I think I agree with Group 1, because I feel like the parallels are kind of, Kaguya-sama Love is War is the rom-com versus the Horimiya rom-com. You have Solo Leveling, which is kind of the mega popular show that kind of corresponds with Spy Family. You have Jujutsu Kaisen, which is the big shonen, edgy, dark, violent property versus the Chainsaw Man. Like, there's kind of parallels between the two, but I feel like Group 1 shows, well, not better, or maybe just bigger. What do you think, Andrew?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm keeping Group 2 because let's just put it this way. So in the Infinity War, when all of those shows get snapped, the ones that you're going to feel the most terrible about are the ones in Group 1. But what's going to happen is if Group 1 is the one that's Thanos Snap, it's Group 2 that has to bring them all back in the end game. And what's harder than these animes?
That's too much to think about.
I think it's really funny. They're the ones who are going to bring everybody back, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard fought. It's going to be interesting. If you just had Group 1, if Group 2 is Thanos Snap, look, Jin Woo is going to come in and solo level his way into bringing everybody back. I don't even think the snap even happens if Jin Woo is in it because he's so broken. So yeah, I don't know. I think Group 2. Also, as much as I love the two of the shows in Group 1, and as much as I've seen only two of the shows in Group 2, I think Group 2 is a little bit more varied and interesting in the grand scheme of things, and I think makes for a more interesting group to keep around than the Group 1s.
I do feel like I'm betraying myself because I am the self-proclaimed lover of Horimiya, and I do love Spy Family, and I think people will crucify us for getting rid of Frieren and keeping Solo Leveling amongst all things. But I don't know. I just feel like Group 1 is a little bit more fun than Group 2.
I think I'm actually switching sides. And not because of Andrew's argument. I think the conversation around shows like Chainsaw Man and Frieren are more compelling.
Conversations?
I feel like Solo Leveling, My Dress Up Darling, Kaguya-sama are all good shows, but there's really not... They're not deep, enriching, game-changing animes in the same way that, Frieren and Chainsaw Man seem to kind of challenge the mold.
Okay. Well,
this is
I was
supposed
on
to
the...
be a hard decision, but I'm sticking with Group 2. We're going to save Group 2, and
okay.
This is supposed to be a hard decision. So we save Group 2, a 2-1 vote?
Yeah, we'll save Group 2.
Sorry, so...
I was already on the cusp of which side, so...
It's purposely, by design, difficult, so we say...
Remember, these are the top shows of that decade, or decade,
You're going to be fine with either of these lists, except for Solo Leveling. God. Anyway, moving on. 2010s. We're just going to go back in time for a couple decades, and then we'll get into some more interesting picks. So, here we go. We have 8 shows from 2010. Does someone want to read them off?
All right, we got Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, Tokyo Ghoul, Sword Art Online, The Promised Neverland, and Mob Psycho 100.
So the groups are Group 1, My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Mob Psycho 100, and One Punch Man. So I randomized these. I really wanted Mob Psycho and One Punch Man to be in different groups, but that's not how the snap worked. And Group 2 is Demon Slayer, Tokyo Ghoul, Sword Art Online, and The Promised Neverland. And
it has to be Group 1.
We need to decide if
breaking it open.
Yeah.
It has to be Group 1.
Are we determining it just based on Season 1, or are we determining it based on the entire property?
Whatever of that property existed in the 2010s. Like, if it's before or after, it doesn't count. But I think that encompasses pretty much everything from there.
I mean, it means you don't get the most of the end of Attack on Titan and stuff. But this randomizer didn't do Group 2 any favors. I think we're all squarely, or at least I'm squarely in Group 1. I mean, just having Mob Psycho and One Punch Man in the same group is great, and Sword Art Online was massive, as is Demon Slayer, but they're more populist picks in popularity than all the quality that you get with Attack on Titan and other shows. So yeah, I think Group 1 pretty soundly. Fridge, are you gonna
Yeah.
be
No. I
contrarian?
mean, I could be if I wanted to, but honestly, when it comes to it, yeah, I don't care enough about those other shows in Group 2 to even want to consider. Like, if they were Thanos snapped, well, you know what? This world, it's fine. We don't need to like bring everybody back. That's
Honestly,
how I.
this Thanos Snap kind of did us a favor here. If he just eliminated these shows, I'll be honest. Like
No, I mean,
I'd
I feel like
willingly lose those shows.
the shows in Group 2 were great for the time. They were iconic. We talked about them. We hated them, but we also loved them. I think they had their place, but for some reason, Group 1 is all of the heavy hitters that will be around for a while, I think.
And to your point, they've aged so much better. Like looking back at Tokyo Ghoul, Sword Art Online, like yeah, they're progenitors for a lot to come and were popular for a good reason, but they don't hold up as well. So
It's because of Sword Art Online that we have as many isekais as we do. There's a direct correlation. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely, some part of that.
I blame him. I blame him.
All right, let's keep on working our way back in time. We're going to get a list for the 2000s, a very interesting time in anime. We have in Group 1, Code Geass, Bakemonogatari, Clannad, and Gurren Lagann. And in Group 2, we have K-On!, Samurai Champloo, Death Note, and Toradora.
Group 2! Group 2!
Por qué?
Because I have barely seen any of the shows in Group 1. I've seen Gurren Lagann. I've seen a little bit of Bakemonogatari. But I loved Death Note is such a iconic show. Have not seen K-On!, but Toradora and Samurai Champloo were both fun. So
I gotta go Group 1 on this one. I gotta. I think
Is it because of the Jibun Woe?
the Jibun Woe is indeed Daijo Bu, but I feel like the variety across the board from
Mason,
yes.
why are you lying? We all know that whatever group had Bakemonogatari in it was going to be the one you saved.
No, I'm a staunch K-On! Defender, but I feel like you have just Clannad is just so much more impactful emotionally. You have this super hype, you have 2 mecha shows. How are you not picking Group 1, Andrew? If you might pick Group 1, but like Code Geass is like the crazy, I don't know, political intrigue, subterfuge, edgy, it's a great
Death Note.
rebel of its time. But Gurren Lagann is like the super robot absurdity of, Trigger. And then you have the refined, tasteful, panty-lined palette of Bakemonogatari. Like, you just have so much more variety. It's so much more, I don't know, those shows just feel bigger to me.
Well, you say that, Mason, but by getting rid of Group 2, we would not have take a potato chip and eat it. Are you willing to sacrifice that for some robots and panties?
Absolutely. I mean, maybe if you
For
put like half
one
of Death
meme-
Note of like part 2 of Death
Okay,
Note on the
second
chopping
half of
block.
Death Note, I give it to you, but
It's already begging to be snapped.
but Toradora,
Is overrated.
you're overrated.
I am overrated, but also
You are overrated,
Toradora.
Mason. Toradora is great.
What are you
I'm
picking?
a little depressing at the end. Oh no, I'm definitely keeping Group 1.
Okay, thank you.
It's got the Jibun Woes. It's got
I
the
don't even
My
know what
Drill
that
Pierces the Heavens. I could care less about Clannad, and we all know how I feel about Bakemonogatari.
peak,
I
we
have
get it.
memories. Let's just say both of these shows have created some very somewhat awkward but silly memories. Bakemonogatari, the first time I watched the first episode on a bus, on a laptop, not on a phone. This was back when I was in college, years ago, decades ago, almost at this point. Let's just say that I was not warned about the panty shot at the beginning. That was interesting. I had to close the screen very quickly to not be one of those weird anime people. And then I spent a whole taxi ride in a minivan or in a van with like 10 of my friends arguing about the the ethics of Death Note. But it wasn't a academic endeavor as you may have taken it. It went very internet debatey before that was really the term that people used. But I'm keeping group one because, obviously Jibun woes and drills that pierce heavens.
And just to circle back, yes, Death Note did give us a great chip meme, and K-on's fun things are fun are indeed iconic. But I think if you're comparing the meme potential between Code Geass, Bakemonogatari, there's just so much more meme.
Pizza Hut supports the revolution.
There's so much more memes in Group 1 that, from a internet historian standpoint, I think we're sticking with that. So I'm sorry, Caroline. Sounds like you need to watch some of those Group 1 shows and change your mind. But
sounds like people are ganging up on me.
Yup. Okay, Group 1.
Some of these shows might make great anime clubs. Who knows?
Maybe.
Oh, I'm pretty unlike we've done Samurai Champloo, we've done Bakemonogatari, we've done nothing else on this list.
Yeah, and really this is just a way of saying like, oh, if you're listening and haven't seen most of these shows, like they're all good for the most part. Check them out. Let's do one more decade list. Let's have Andrew read off these.
All right, the shows in the 1990s, the top 8 shows are Neon Genesis Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Serial Experiments Lane. Ooh, that one triggers something in me for some reason. Great Teacher Onizuka, Berserk, Trigun, Initial D. Really? That's a top 8? Okay. And Revolutionary Girl Utena.
I did it based on popularity, not necessarily.
Oh, popularity. Okay, that makes way more sense. Yeah, that makes more sense.
So in Group 1, we have Neon Genesis Evangelion, Trigun, Berserk, and Great Teacher Onizuka, the recently completed anime club show. And in Group 2, we have Cowboy Bebop, Initial D, Serial Experiments Lane, and Revolutionary Girl Utena. Andrew, we'll have you start this time. Who are you saving?
I feel like Mitz is gonna hate me for this, so I'm gonna save Group 2. As much as I love, in quotation marks, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Berserk is great, and I really did enjoy Trigun up until about the last couple of episodes, and I never really watched Great Teacher Onizuka. I think Group 2 with Cowboy Bebop just imminently rewatchable. Initial D, it's the only anime my dad ever asked me to get more episodes of, even though he never really watched it, but he did ask, and that's important. I've never seen Serial Experiments Lane, but I've heard it's like some pretty cool, interesting, like provoking stuff. And Revolutionary Girl Utena is like the template of what you want. Sapphic bisexual energy to be. I don't know if that's actually a thing that exists, but you know what? That's what I'm going to say. So yeah, I'm keeping Group 2.
Caroline?
I am going to go with Group 1 because, with Group 2, I feel like the only thing that I would probably like in this group is Cowboy Bebop. I did not like Serial Experiments Lane. Could not tell you what happened in it. Initial D, from what I've seen of MF Ghost, no. Revolutionary Girl Utena, I think I've watched some of it. I was like, it is all right. Not for me, though. But Group 1, Neon Genesis Evangelion, while I do not love it, there were some parts I at least found interesting. Berserk, never seen, but have been tempted to. Trigun, only seen Stampede. But I thought it was kind of fun for what was
all
okay.
The sequels. I haven't seen Initial D, I've seen MF Ghost. I haven't seen Trigun, I've seen Stampede.
I was not a 90s anime fan.
No, and that's fine.
But I have just seen Great Teacher Onizuka, which was a little bit better than I was expecting it to be. Still not as great as Mitz says it is. That's my opinion.
It's what it is. You understand why he likes it and
yes.
why you and I don't.
But between the two groups, I identify more with Group 1.
Man.
Nice.
Because I feel like I am the token Evangelion and Berserk defender on the show. And I feel like bad that I keep on ganging up with Andrew to bully Caroline. But I think I'm going Group 2.
Hey!
I
Mason!
think Group 2 is so influential and ahead of its time and just forward thinking between Serial Experiments Lane so accurately representing what the internet and that culture would go on to be. Revolutionary Girl Utena is just, there's nothing quite like it, and it just really is such a great amalgamation of so many genres and styles while being so much its own thing. Cowboy Bebop is iconic for all the reasons Andrew mentioned, and Initial D, while wonky and goofy and just fast cars go fast, I think is still extremely memorable and rewatchable. And as much as I love Berserk, the manga exists and it's the better form. And as much as I love Evangelion, I feel like it's in a group with Trigun and Onizuka, which, while good, don't just retain the same power as some of the stuff in Group 2. So I'm going Group 2. Bebop, Initial D, Lane, and Utena as what I'm deciding to keep. There we go. Let's break it up a bit. Let's go with a different style. Let's just do the popular isekais before we get to some other weird lists that I've made.
Delete all of them.
Delete all
just
of them.
Double snap.
Double snap. Both simultaneously.
Honestly, if we just double snap, then there'll be only 2 remaining, which should be the 2 that are.
We should snap, and then like from that set of 4, snap again to get down to
yeah.
Snap our way down. Maybe we'll do that for the ones after this, because I do not care that much about isekais. But in Group 1 of the popular isekai list that I've generated, we have No Game No Life, reincarnated as a slime, Konosuba, and Sword Art Online. Group 2 is ReZero, Overlord, Jobless Reincarnation, and Rising of Shield Hero. So essentially, you got the edgy group and the fun group. What are you saving?
Never seen No Game No Life. Reincarnated as slime is just boring. Konosuba is fun. Sword Art Online started a revolution that we just want to stop.
That's fair.
I do really like ReZero. Overlord I've never seen but heard good things about. Jobless Reincarnation is surprisingly good, though uncomfortable. Rising of the Shield Hero. Just please stop. So I don't know. My first instinct is Group 2.
I think I'm going to agree with you. I think Group 2 has better quality from, like I said, maybe I just like the edgy stuff, but Jobless Reincarnation, ReZero, as cringy and kind of gross both of them can be at times, I think there is much more, I don't know, humanity laid bare. Just the emotions are more deeper, more intense. It's a more engaging show to me than something as light as Slime or Konosuba. And while No Game No Life is enjoyable, there's not enough of it, and its unique art style and color palette kind of pales in comparison to what Studio Bind did with Jobless Reincarnation for at least what I've seen of that show, which looked really good in its first season. So I'm going Group 2. Andrew, where are you at?
I mean, if you asked me,
I'm asking you.
If you asked me in any world, if I could Thanos Snap Rising of the Shield Hero and it would get rid of my favorite anime, I might argue maybe I would let Rising of Shield Hero exist. But none of these are my favorite anime, so that's an easy. Group 2 can go away. Thanos Snap
Just to get rid
out.
Of Shield Hero? That's fair.
I mean, I ReZero, love season 1. Overlord, I enjoyed season 1. I thought it was a fun little thing. Jobless Reincarnation looks good, but it is icky. Mm-hmm. But Rising of Shield Hero, that the slavery aspect is just really bad, and I'm like, no, thank you. It looks good, but nah, no, thank you. No Game No Life has some awkward stuff in it. Not a fan of that, but I really did enjoy a lot of it. What it was trying to do outside of that. I love me some politicking and city building in another world with slime buddies. Konosuba is just funny, even though, and I thought it would be more gross based off of some of the clips, but it's actually more funny in context. And Sword Art Online, look, season 1 put in a lot of work so that the rest of it could be bad. And I say season 1, I mean part 1 put in a lot of work so the rest of it could be bad. So I'm gonna keep group 1.
Okay, well that's a fair case, and there's such a bad apple in one group, it's worth that argument. I'm sticking with Caroline though. I think group 2 has enough good stuff that I can watch, and I can just ignore what gets saved of it and not watch Shield Hero. So
thank you, Mason.
You know, I'm not picking sides here, except I'm picking group 2 side. So ReZero, Overlord, Reincarnation, and Jobless Reincarnation and Shield Hero make the cut. Let's move on to the top 8 by whatever standards I did Ghibli movies.
All right.
And what we'll
now
do
we're getting
is,
interesting.
after we pick our group, we'll snap it again and make that 4 into 2. And I believe Anime Club is doing a Ghibli film.
We
in
are
the coming
after
future.
yes,
So,
after this next watch party meeting, we are deciding on a Ghibli meeting. So the theme is Ghibli. We'll be choosing one Ghibli movie and we'll have a discussion on it. So
let's see if this
if you want to
discussion-
join the conversation and suggest a film to be put on the poll, then go ahead into our Anime Club chat.
do it.
That's it for the plug.
Anyway,
Moving
okay, top 8 Ghibli movies. In group 1, we have My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, Grave of the Fireflies, and Kiki's Delivery Service. And in group 2, we have Whisper of the Heart, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, and The Tale of Princess Kaguya. And I'll just go right out. Group 2, this snap absolutely was a seesaw for me. Group 2 is easily what I'm going to go with. There's so much more enjoyment I have of that second group's quality that's my pick.
Hey, Mason, we can't see group 1 on the stream.
I'm sorry. There we go. They're
I
on
can't
the stream
remember
now.
what we talked about. The shows that are on the list. I need to see.
You can see now. You can see
Okay.
now. It just took a minute. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I need to think.
And then while you think, I'll go. I'm also keeping group 2. I loved that I saw Grave of the Fireflies. I watched it once. I never want to watch it again. And that's not because it's bad. Howl's Moving Castle, I think there is some story issues, but people keep saying it's amazing. I've never seen Kiki, but people really love Kiki. And My Neighbor Totoro is nice and like, I guess, a prototypical Iyashike before, I guess, Iyashikes were really a thing. But I'm like, those aren't my thing. Plus, I was always going to keep the group that Princess Mononoke was in because that's my favorite Ghibli movie. Also, you know what? Shout out to my friend BCom. You know, he loves Whisper of the Heart. So, you know what?
good.
That's just nice.
As overrated
Spirited Away.
as Howl's Moving Castle is, Whisper of the Heart is underrated. But sorry, I interrupted.
True. No, you're correct. And I think BCom would agree with you on that one. It was good. I enjoyed it, but it's like, you know, it wasn't it's not like in the pantheon of what people consider Ghibli because it's not really one of their more fantastical movies. It's one of their more grounded movies. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm keeping group 2.
Yeah, so the thing is, group 1 has my personal favorite, which is Kiki's. And Totoro is just too iconic. But Princess Mononoke is my favorite and is really great. Spirited Away is really great, but it's not my favorite. And Tale of Princess Kaguya is so good.
It's so good.
So I'm going to have to go with group 2.
Well, we unanimously decide group 2 while I plug in group 2 to be snapped again. We've just removed Totoro from existence.
I know.
What is
We didn't even talk that much about
What
it.
is Ghibli's new logo?
Ooh, Kiki.
the-
No, Kiki's gone too. Sorry, never mind.
What is it in what are those it's ghost faced from Spirited Away. I forget what he's called.
No face? Is it no face?
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
He's the new mascot for Ghibli.
We're
Or
snapping.
the snapping.
No, I was gonna say. You
Is
can
occurring.
finish your thought.
No, go ahead. I had nothing really crazy to say.
Okay, we've snapped again. Group 1, Whisper of the Heart and Spirited Away. Group 2 is Tale of Princess Kaguya and Princess Mononoke. So the 2 princesses versus 2 non-princesses, I guess. What are we saving?
I know you guys really like Whisper of the Heart. I didn't love it. I thought it started off really good. I did not like it that much by the end. Like it's an alright movie, just not my favorite. Spirited Away, it doesn't stick in my mind. You know, I've seen it once and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's nice. But Group 2 is where it's at for me with the princess.
I love how Caroline was trying to like preface the whole thing like we were going to disagree with her on that point.
I don't know. You guys like Whisper of the Heart.
If one of the princesses had been in Group 2, I think this would be a more even thing. But once again, the Thanos Snap led us right to the answer. I think Group 2 takes the cake. I think we all universally enjoy Princess Mononoke probably the most out of all Ghibli's, and Princess Kaguya is no slouch. One of the most gorgeous films they've done, and that's saying something. So yeah, I'm picking Group 2 as well.
Bridgie?
Awesome.
I think he agrees.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. Did you not hear me? I said,
yeah.
No,
I
thought my answer was given by when I said we were all going to pick Group 2. I thought that it was implied that I was picking Group 2. Sorry.
I don't know. I just thought you would want to elaborate. That's all.
No, I think I said it in my first one. Princess Mononoke is my favorite Ghibli movie, so I was always going to pick the one that Princess Mononoke was in, and that was not going to be untrue of the double Thanos Snap, basically. So yeah, no, I'm good.
Let's see. I'm just really quickly on the stream. I had to hide the chat, so I was just blipping through really quick to see what the chat was saying, see if we were being agreed with or not, and you'd be surprised. Anyway, we have 2 more groups that I want to do because I think this will be fun. I went to each of your lists and went through some of your favorite shows and made a list of 8, and we're gonna snap them. So this is Caroline's list. So Andrew and I can make comments, but Caroline gets the final say on what gets lost in the mix here. Group 1.
All right, you guys go first then.
Okay. We'll guess what we think, and we'll guess what you think, and then you'll tell us who wins. So, Group 1, we have Ranking of Kings, Hinamatsuri, A Place Further Than the Universe, and Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. Anime Club plug. And Group 2 is March Comes In Like a Lion, Yatagarasu, Odd Taxi, and Erased. And these are 2 very good lists. If I was picking, I would need to do some more thoughts. But I think Caroline's going to pick Group 1 without too much heartache.
I also agree that Caroline would probably pick Group 1.
What would I pick?
I don't. You said. Oh, well, for me, I'm picking.
I think I'm also
Group
Group
2. Well, I guess we're diverging. No, I think I picked Group 2. I really do love Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju, and I did really enjoy Ranking of Kings. I think March Comes In Like a Lion is probably one of the best looks anime has done into depression. I think Odd Taxi is a nice, and also one of the best looks anime has done into trauma and how
Erased
it affects
is one of the best
you.
looks into depression. Like very depressive shows in Group 2.
No, Erased is just has a really banger of an OP.
It really does. Can we just?
And I've never seen
Erased
Yatagarasu.
It's good. It's good. All these shows are worth checking out. Full stop.
Yeah.
But what do you think Caroline would pass, Andrew?
Oh, I said I agreed with you.
Oh, okay.
I won.
Gotcha. Caroline, what are you picking?
I would save Group 2.
No. Wait, no, Caroline's the AI robot now. I'm podcasting with Robot Andrew and Robot Caroline.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tough. But here's the thing. So in Group 1, Ranking of Kings, I actually haven't thought about Ranking of Kings in a while. You know, like I think I would restart my love for it if I were to watch it again.
I bet if I showed you an image of Boji, you'd be like, "Oh, look how adorable he is." Okay, I like him so much.
Hinamatsuri is such a good, fun show, but it's not something that's gonna stick with me forever. You know. I hope it does, but it's a comedy, so. Place Further Than the Universe is just universally good. It is a good show, not gonna lie. Just not in my soul. Like, it's not staying there, you know? And Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju, that's the hard part because I do love that show. But with Group 2, March comes in like a lion. That's sticking around. Yatagarasu was such a surprise that it's going to stick around in my mind. Odd Taxi, it's just so delicately done. I love it. And Erased, yeah, it's on my rewatches. It has not been like, I think it has not held up to the standard that it gave me when I first watched it because it was also early on in my anime watching days. However, it's so nostalgic for me. So, yeah, there you have it.
Wow, surprise! I'd love
Fascinating.
To see it,
and actually, I picked Group 2 just to be a contrarian.
Yeah,
to you guys.
See, that's what I knew. That's what I knew. That's what I'm talking about. We'll do one more list, and that is Andrew's. So we have 4 shows. In Group 1, we have Anohana, Surezure Children, Bokurano, and Origairu. And in Group 2, we have Kids on the Slope, Angel Beats, Genshiken, and Whistle. And I want Caroline to go first because she probably has not seen.
I want to say you messed up. There's no Gundam on this list,
so,
and that is disgusting.
I thought about Gundam, and then I thought about making 8 different Gundam entries, but then I figured
that would have been fun.
That would have been fun, and I thought about it, but I didn't do it. So suck it.
For the next time we do this, bracket thingy, which would be fun to do again in the future. You have to.
Okay, I'll do Gundams next time.
Just to put aside what I have and have not seen, I have seen Anohana. I can't remember if I've seen Surezure Children. I have seen Kids on the Slope. I have seen a bit of Genshiken.
Okay, so you've seen 2 of each. So
yeah. But based on what I think I would like if I were to watch it, and what I know I do like, I would pick Group 1 for myself. But in terms of Friggy's opinions, I'm actually not that certain of what he would pick.
Well,
I'm just gonna go with Group 1.
I misspelled Kids on the Slope, and I wrote Kids on the Slop.
Honestly, I did not like.
Tell us how you really feel, Mason.
I did not like Kids on the Slope, and I feel like that. I feel like that's not everybody's opinion on that. But since I am unsure of what Friggy thinks, I'm just going to say Group 1 for both.
Okay, I think I would pick Group 1. I thought Surezure Children and Bokurano were fantastic. Such interesting takes, not deconstructions, because that word gets way overused and they're not those shows. But I think they both do their show's elements in a very unique and interesting way that I really enjoyed. I do think Kids on the Slope is pretty good, and I know how much Andrew enjoys Genshiken, so I think he's going to pick Group 2, both because then he has to choose between what Caroline and I guessed. But I'd pick Group 1, and I think Andrew will pick Group 2. What's
all right?
The verdict? And you can't say Gundam. You can't just say Gundam.
No, of course not. Actually, this was an easy Group 2 for me. I do really enjoy Anohana, and Surezure Children is just a fun short involving like all the things you enjoy about a rom-com and the comedic parts of it are all in those shorts, and it's digestible because there's none of like all of the crazy silly melodramas that sometimes comes along with it. Bokurano is a really interesting show. I think if you haven't seen it, Mason, I think you might enjoy it for what it does.
Bokurano?
Though the animation's a little wonky, yeah.
Oh, I love Bokurano. It's awesome.
Okay. Also, yeah, okay.
God tier opening with the uninstall. Wait, I shouldn't say that. You guys might reboot. I want to. If I had to give like a sales pitch for people who've never heard of Surezure Children, imagine like a really good rom-com that's like your typical 12 episodes, 24 episodes, and you took it and compressed it down to just the most vital, most interesting 5 minutes, and then you had 17 of those. You get just a rapid fire, best of the best rom-com highlights with a bunch of different relationships. It's so good. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's what makes it so enjoyable. And I like some good rom-coms, but I like how they kind of like distill it down. But yeah, no, I love Kids on the Slope. I think it's a really fascinating look into that time period of Japan. Angel Beats is unfortunately never got the 24 episodes it should have gotten. It only got 12, so it feels kind of rushed, but I did enjoy those 12 episodes that I got. Genshiken is formative in my anime club career as just like a fun, even if it's like sort of different than how anime clubs were running here at the time. It was just like a fun like thing to be seen back when anime wasn't as big as it was. And I'm old, not Mitt's old. I mean, technically I'm close to Mitt's age, so I'm like almost Mitt's old, but like I'm old when Mitz was saying he was old. And then Whistle is basically one of my favorite, I think, one of my favorite sports stories. And that's also, if it Whistle was in the other group, I would have had a harder time picking, but nah, a lot of the bangers ended up in group 2 for sure. So I'm keeping group 2.
There we go.
Interesting that you did not prepare your own list, Mason.
I mean, I can't
Did you not prepare your own list, Mason?
No.
Lame.
Lame.
I don't want to do a Sophie choice. That's not my deal. It's more fun to make you guys do it.
Ew, that's dégueulasse, as we say in French.
Wow. Well, that was fun. That was enjoyable. I hope
It was.
You got some good recommendations to watch, folks. And let us know if you wanted us to do it again, and even submit lists that you want us to go through for whatever reason. But with that, I think we'll jump into our non-news news break, aka the chance for us to refill our water bottles and read a trivia question.
All right. And that trivia question is, in Apocalypse Hotel, the Gingaro Hotel starts distilling its own brand of alcohol. What type of spirit is it? And we'll give you the answer after the news break.
Anime Addicts, the AAA podcast, is always trying to bring you new and exciting ways to enjoy our content, and now we have an exclusive member-only RSS feed on the site that is going to let you access our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties episodes, all from your favorite mobile apps. That's an additional 8 episodes of content per month just for you, and you can listen to it through Apple Podcast app, you can listen to it through Podcast Addicts, Pocket Cast, Overcast FM, Downcast FM, etc., onward and onward. So many mobile apps for you to choose from. If you were holding back on supporting the podcast because you didn't like listening to our extra content through our website, now you can get it and listen to it the same way you enjoy all your other podcasts. So pitch in, help out the podcast, do a good thing, and enjoy all the extra content we have for you. Just go to AAAPodcast.com/join and you will get all this extra content and an exclusive member RSS feed for you to enjoy. That's AAAPodcast.com/join and support the podcast.
Back to the podcast following that news break. Pulled up the wrong thing. Where the question that was asked was, in Apocalypse Hotel, the Gingaro Hotel starts distilling its own brand of alcohol. What type of spirit is it? The answer is single malt whiskey, which none of us are drinking, but
no, because it is 11 a.m.
That's...
That would be a little bit wild to be drinking at 11 a.m. But
actually, this brings up like a good point that I was thinking about the other day. We have a drinking game episode coming up in the next few weeks. So we are going to be playing a drinking game at 11 a.m. or 10:30 a.m.
More
basically.
engaging? I don't know.
It
We'll find out.
is. It's going to be a
Might just
fun day
laying down hard
afterwards.
seltzers before noon.
Yep. Sometimes you just have to exist in this world.
Yeah, but it should be still fun.
just
We haven't done a
exist,
drinking game in a while.
thrive, excel, conquer, if you will. But we have a mailbag, and let's do
It's
the
time
dance.
for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag. Bag.
All right. And you guys can submit mailbags at AAAPodcast.com and click the mailbag button. Today's mailbag comes from why the hell aren't anime crossovers a thing? I don't think you put the right name in here, Mason. Or is there no name attached to this?
No, that was literally the name that was attached to the thing.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
Credit to whoever is you.
Yeah, so we don't know who it is, or maybe this is secretly a Raggedy Doctor email, so you wouldn't have to answer them. I have not looked into this at all, but I was watching One Punch Man with my best friend, and he was telling me that Green Tornado Girl from One Punch Man showed up in an episode of Mob Psycho. Well, at least in the manga, he said anyway. I could not wrap my head around the fact that there are not a ton of anime spin-offs so that there could be crossovers. I'm sure Dragon Ball and that kind of stuff from our childhood did, but I don't know anything about those except what I heard on the podcast. The point is that we need to make anime crossovers a thing. How do we make this happen? Discuss. Thanks, everyone. I got to remember to start sending more mailbags. I think this is Raggedy Doctor.
I think this is Crucifix, based on the fact that A, I might have just mispronounced his name. B, I saw him commenting this in the Discord. And C, he's in our chat right now saying he's the one who did it. So enough is aligning for my detective instincts to
Well, thanks
That was
for
really impressive,
ruining
Mason.
thank you.
my reasonings.
Once again,
All right.
gotta reprogram you.
Mason,
Yes.
you go first. What do you think?
I'm not a fan of the anime crossovers. I've seen it a couple times, most memorably, I guess, if you will, in the Sket Dance plus Gintama, where two kind of gag anime get together, invade each other's universes for at least a couple episodes, I think, which I like that they committed to the bit. That said, I just don't really enjoy the experience in any show, not just anime, just the whole crossover. Oh, Disney Channel, all the characters are getting together again. Like, that never really, it just seemed like a
Are you
distraction.
kidding?
You
You did not love it when The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven combined?
Yeah, no.
What about when the Wizards of Waverly Place got involved?
Yeah, no.
Excuse me, Mason?
No.
You are a fake lover of things that are good.
I think I'm just not into, despite the fact that I did this whole Thanos thing. Like, I don't like these cinematic universes much. Like, I like a little bit where we get cameos that are like a wink and a nod, especially when it's in the same creator's universe, such as Devilman maybe popping up in Read Cutie Honey, or like a Toriyama creation like Arale showing up in Dragon Ball, or just everything that is Carnival Phantasm with the Nasuverse. But for the most part, I like people to stay in their lane and not infect other properties. So I'm an anti-crossover apologist. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I can only imagine it has something to do with like licensing agreements and stuff like that. Like whether or not like full-on anime characters can join other worlds and be in that for a extended period of time. But I'm also good with like, references and cameos because those are pretty common. And then whenever it happens and you know what they're doing, you're like, oh my God, that's a thing. That's a thing from another show. Like for example, One Punch Man himself actually appears in several episodes and manga chapters of Mob Psycho 100, not just the Green Tornado character. And Bocchi the Rock, and this was really fun seeing because Bocchi the Rock was a really big show. Slow Loop was not that big of a show in the season it came out, but I loved it. And they had references and cameos in each other's manga and anime, so that was really exciting for me. But for full-on crossovers, we have the shining example of Isekai Quartet, which I have not seen, partially because I was not, I did not know of or seen most of the isekais involved in the show at the time when it was coming out. But I feel like that's the main example of anime crossover you can get.
At least that's better in that like the whole show is the crossover.
Yeah.
Like it's not the one-off kind of thing that just feels like a distraction. I don't know. I guess I like that in concept more. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, so I wrote a whole thing apparently, which is not crazy. And I also honestly I forgot about Isekai Quartet being a thing as well, even though Caroline literally wrote it right above my name. I just completely forgot it existed. So I think, but crossovers do happen a lot. I think more in manga, but a lot of it is more in either side material or like pages, and there's obviously all the crossover. Images that people have to do for contractually for Shonen Jump. Anyway, so you'll see it a lot in the mangas themselves because a lot of the reasons why they can do these crossovers or have these sort of like crossover events is because they're all under the same banner and the licensing rights for those for those manga are technically under the same magazine, in most cases like a Jump or something to that effect. So that's why you'll see a lot of crossovers. It gets a little bit tricky when it comes to anime because a lot of those same anime manga will get farmed out to a bunch of different studios, though you do get the few that end up under the same studio, so you'll sometimes find like some crossover things. But a lot of the times you're going to see, if you're going to see a crossover thing happen, it's going to be in some like kind of commercial or some kind of promotional thing, and maybe the odd special here or there. But I don't think it's just something that they're super crazy into doing. I think they like to like keep their own distinct identity for the most part. But it would be kind of fun sometimes ever to see like, you know, one of those kind of crossover things like the WB used to do to promote their shows, where they brought a bunch of the actors to like sit in a room and look pretty, you know, that kind of fun stuff. Or even Toonami, I feel like did, or like Cartoon Network would do, where they would just have their cartoon characters interact with one another in like interstitials. But yeah, but you would see a lot of that back in the day, and you don't see as much of it now. Also, probably because a lot of these studios just don't have the bandwidth to be doing all of this extra content as well. But yeah, no, I think it would be fun to see it every now and then happen, something silly like that.
Nice. Well, thank you for the mailbag. Please leave more if you would like. And let's get on to our review of Apocalypse Hotel. This is a show that got failed on the podcast, but thank you, listeners, for bringing it back, because I was hype on it from day one. This is a spring 2025 show by Cygames Pictures. You know them as the Uma Musume, Braverin folks. They've been on an absolute tear recently, and you can watch this on Crunchyroll, and it's an original work. Essentially, the synopsis is that humanity has fled the planet. Big old viruses have made Earth an apocalypse that they can't really consist on anymore. But we have a hotel that continues to be up and running, run pretty much entirely by robots, led by Yachio, who's kind of the concierge head honcho, and they kind of just keep this hotel running, waiting for humanity to come back. So that's kind of the big synopsis of it. And what was everyone's expectations coming into this show? We'll start with Andrew.
I heard in the Discord a lot of people talking about how great this show was and how we didn't pass it and all that kind of crazy things. I was talking to Lady Emery recently after having only watched the first episode, and I told her something to the effect of, I really thought what the first episode did was interesting. I really think it has the potential to do some really interesting deep dives and discussions into certain topics. And if the show in the first episode said, if it goes down the Ghost in the Shell and standalone complex route, it could be amazing, and I think I will love this show. Or it could just be very mid. We'll see how I feel after the fact. But yeah, more or less that's what it is. I heard good things about it. I really enjoyed the first episode, and yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm kind of interesting to see. I'll be interested to see where the show goes.
Nice. Caroline?
I did not really know much about the show going into it. I had heard the name Apocalypse Hotel in our Discord when it was coming out. But I didn't even know that we did an impression on it. I know I wasn't on that episode, but I didn't even know that we had all talked about it.
I think it was me, Mitz, and Otaku. And I was like, oh, there's so much potential. It'll be so good. And they're like, yeah, we're not seeing it. Thumbs down.
I'm surprised Otaku didn't have somewhat interest in it.
I think it was just a pretty solid season overall, and he wanted other stuff. But thank you, listeners, once again. You brought it back from the dead.
Yeah, at the very least, I thought it became the dark horse of the season because I kept on seeing the name Apocalypse Hotel. Oh my gosh, I can't believe what they did this weekend. Blah 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 blah. So I was interested in seeing what it was about since I did not really have real knowledge of it.
Yeah, and obviously I was a big fan of it. It kind of hit that cozy, comfy, comedic, end of the world vibes that you see with like Yokohama Shopping Log, Girls Last Tour, Humanity Has Declined. And I like this, it's a optimistic show as these robots kind of just exist in perpetuity waiting for what might not ever come. So there's like a nice clash of stuff going on. It had potential. And like you guys, I heard a lot of acclaim coming from the Discord. A lot of people were like, oh, this episode, oh, wow, really? So I had high hopes. I was really ready to dig back into it. That said, spoiler-free recommendations. Would you guys recommend Apocalypse Hotel for people to check out? We'll go back to Andrew.
Not really. I think it really hits a fairly niche vibe to some extent. Even if you like shows like I think Humanity Has Declined. Actually, maybe if you did like shows like Humanity Has Declined, you would enjoy this show. This is what it reminded me a lot of. But the show itself is fine. I have no issues with the show. I think it does some interesting things, but for the most part, episode 1 made me feel like it could go a really interesting route, and I feel like it went sort of in a less interesting route as from what I was hoping for. And I know that's a lot of me things. So in this particular regard, I don't know if I can really like put like recommend. It's fine, but check it out if you like what you hear after we talk about some more spoilery things, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. Caroline?
So I would recommend this show, even though, as you said, it's a bit niche. I think there's a lot of people that would still enjoy it. I think it's fairly unique. The characters I thought were pretty interesting. The humor I thought is spectacular. It was really well done, I thought. And in a way that's not overplayed. Like, this is not slapstick comedy, a joke every scene kind of comedy. It's like when they do make a joke, it's not completely expected and it hits where it needs to. So it's like it just really well done in that aspect. At first, I was pretty afraid that it would just be a slice of life amongst the robot employees of the hotel in the desolate Ginza landscape. But I was glad that they had brought in alien characters. I was not sure. I did not know alien characters were going to be part of this. But once they did, I'm like, okay, thank goodness. There's going to be actual guests in this hotel. And while some episodes didn't quite hit the mark, which I will be talking more about later on. Overall, I had a really great time with the show, and as you guys said, Humanity Has Declined meets WALL-E. That's this movie.
I think I'm kind of in lockstep with you guys. I like it when a show makes me engage with the world from a different perspective, whether it's age, personality, whatever. And I like shows like To Your Eternity, Land of the Lustrous that just have a long timeline to them, where characters experience Earth or whatever planet they're on over centuries. It makes you really appreciate how fleeting and temporary our lives are in the meantime. And I like Apocalypse Hotel for the most part. It has this mix of this relaxed, laissez-faire delivery of life comedy that gets equal chuckles from like poop jokes as it does like existential implications of, our decline as a species. And it's as confident being silly, ridiculous, and bombastic as it is being like referential and austere and reflective. So it's not so much about the plot of the show as just the vibes and the overall collection on how things grow and change, even in what would otherwise be a stagnant place. So I always thought it was a delight to see where each episode went, though, as Caroline mentioned, some of them were more exceptional than others. I thought the first 2 and the last 2 episodes were far and away my favorite, and if it was just those 4 episodes, I'd absolutely recommend this and probably give it a 5 out of 5. As it stands today, it's a little niche. It's not, mass recommendable, as Andrew said. So if you really like the kind of shows that we've just referenced, give it a shot. It's, worth your time. It's a well-done piece of work, but it's not, everyone has to check it out. So I give it a light recommendation for that. And we will jump into spoilers.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
And there's really not a ton to spoil, as Caroline mentioned. Aliens are visiting, and you get new cast of characters coming to each episode. It's a little slice of lifey. Each episode's kind of a self-contained little thing, but I guess I want to start at the beginning, where Andrew, I think, will echo my sentiments that I thought episode 1 was amazing. It had this methodical brilliance, the gags, the dialogue, the music. There was just so much meaning, and I loved the absurdity of it, of, you know, oh, a shampoo head is missing, but like that shampoo hat gag comes back time and time again and grows. And it just was awesome. I just was so fulfilled by the first 2 episodes that I was blown away. What do you guys think of how this show opened up?
I think the first 2 episodes were pretty good, but I actually did not really get into the show until like episode 4, because that was one of my favorite episodes.
You just like the action. You like the Tanukis.
Not even just the action. I just really, well, that was a nice breakup, because sometimes too much slice of life, like coziness, can lose its luster after a few episodes. So I thought this came at a really good time to really up the ante, you know?
Yeah.
But partially it's because I friggin' love Ponko. She's my favorite character. She's so funny. And this is like the episode where she actually starts getting involved with the hotel antics. And so I just thought it was such a fun episode.
How about you, Andrew? I know you mentioned episode 1 really showed you potential.
So I think episode 1 was a really interesting discussion in like, what does a robot do? Are these robots like more human than they appear? Are they developing some kind of sentience of some kind more than outwardly? And you could argue that somewhat happens, but not really. And I thought, okay, well, as these robots are discovering what their potential sentience, or maybe even just like the ethicalness of continuing to run this hotel, or what happened with humanity. Actually, what happened with humanity was like the least interesting part of the show, and I'm actually glad it barely went into it.
Yeah.
For the most part. That's because I remember also saying to Lady Emery I honestly rather they don't delve into the plot of what this virus was or things like that, because that would just be boring. And the show didn't do that, and I was really happy it didn't. But like I said, so I was judging this show based off of a standalone complex, where the standalone episodes of Standalone Complex are my favorite episodes of that show, because it'll take a philosophical theory or whatnot and sort of like delve into it, and as it pertains to like robotic sentience and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and I was hoping the show was going to do a little bit more of that. And the show sort of tries to do that at points, but it all is so surface level. And I'm not going to say Standalone Complex was super deep about it. They were also fairly surface level, but this felt like it was like the surface of the surface levels, and how they even decided to delve into some of these topics. And a lot of it got resolved really quickly and really easily.
So I completely agree with you, Andrew. I think while it does touch on, this post-humanity robotic influence and what it means to be all this kind of stuff, it's really not trying to engage with it on that sort of level. It's more general and loose with it. And because of that, both the concepts are not super deep, and the resolutions, when there is an issue where characters will have a disagreement, they kind of just get over it and solve it, and there's really not that deep conflict that drives that discussion and analysis.
I will say, though, my favorite episode was when Ponko, the Tanuki-jin, Tanuki Seijin, tries to set up an asexual world destroyer and a robot and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And yeah, it was stupid. I enjoyed it. It was kind of funny. But I'm like, at no point I'm like, why? I get the comedy where it's coming from, but I did enjoy that episode a lot, because I thought it was kind of funny that she was trying to set up an asexual world destroyer and a robot who does not feel love.
Nice.
So yeah.
Caroline, you want to get into your list of shows that you weren't, or not shows, episodes that you weren't really engaging with, or is there something else you want to touch on from the characters like Ponko and Yachio's back and forth, or where you want to go?
I'll just get the shows that they're the episodes I didn't love out of the way because I have way more things that I enjoy about this show than I didn't love. So episode 6 with the character they dubbed Harmageddon.
Harmy.
Uh, Harmy. I know, like, because I guess there is some sort of comedy within it, like with Punko just immediately assuming that this alien and Yachio have some sort of romantic relationship going on when there's absolutely nothing that points to that. No, but, oh god, and the gags in this show are so good. So, but it was just weird because like I didn't really, I wasn't really getting into that, and then the alien superhero group came by, and I'm just like, nah, because you see, I don't crave the action. I think action helps every once in a while, but this action sequence, I'm like, I don't need it. I like this alien superhero group is just so goofy and I can't get with it. I did love that that he helped get their hot spring in the end. That's why I was like, oh, he did it.
Even the episodes that like I wasn't really huge on had its moments, had its clever gags. I was like, okay, there was always nuggets of enjoyment throughout. Yeah.
So that episode I didn't love. Again, there are things I like, little gags and stuff like that. But episode 8 then came with Yachio in her delinquent phase. And I didn't love it because I thought I was in for a really interesting episode with Yachio having spent so many decades or like 100 years out of commission. And she realizes that this hotel has grown immensely in her absence and how that might affect her, even though she is a robot. And then it just gets goofy with, she's now a rebellious biker and she's not going to work and they're going to have a mecha fight. And again, don't need the fights. I just,
But I think
I just feel like it could have been a lot more interesting if it wasn't so in your face about it,
And I think that's where Andrew would agree. Like, that could have been a great vehicle of her long absence and coming back and learning to cope with like, oh, my body parts are not what they used to be. I've loss of function, loss of connection, loss of time. Like, there's so much to get into, and they kind of touch on it and they kind of go back to it episode 11, but they just feel like they gloss over it. Everything's going to be fine. They have a big robot fight at the end, which did look phenomenal. I would say that mecha fight between Ponko and Yachio was probably the most Trigger-esque, bombastic animation cuts, and that looked phenomenal.
And that's another thing. Like, this show looks so much better than it really needs to be.
It really does.
It's kind of crazy. So episode 8, I just didn't like because I thought it was goofy, and I think they could have done more with it. Episode 10, I did not like this. I think this one out of the 3, I did not like the most because I just thought it was dumb. With like the guest that died, and apparently he's a terrorist, and there is a intergalactic bounty hunter after him, and I'm like, I don't know who these guys are, and I don't care, and like, why does it matter? Like, I know, like, we got to cover it up, and I thought that was a little bit funny because obviously they're trying to run a business here, and they cannot have such drama in their business. We got to cover up the dead body. But honestly, I think they could have just give the dead body to the bounty hunter and called it a day, So I was just throughout that episode, I'm just like,
logical,
so unnecessary.
Logical, Caroline.
Yeah.
taking the hit on that one.
Yeah, so those are the 3 episodes I did not love.
That's fair. I just to go back, I was a little bummed with episode 8 because the spoiler is that episode 7 ends with Yachio lost in space. She's on this intergalactic mission. Not really intergalactic, but she fails her mission in space, and she's just left floating in the void. And we're like, oh, what's going to happen? Is the show going to move on from her? Is it just going to be Ponko running the hotel? Like, could have been interesting. Yeah. But then we get the opening where Yachio is back in there singing and dancing. Like, if she was gone from that opening,
that would have been great,
awesome. But you see her dancing, and she comes back so soon, and they just like, I don't know. Like, the gags were still good, especially because they brought back gags from episode 1 and evolved them and reworked them and gave them new legs and new laughter and new life, which was awesome. But yeah, to me, like I said, episodes 1 and 2 and 11 and 12 were far and away my favorites. And most of the middle ones, while good, were just a little too light on some of the themes for me, but they were still an enjoyable watch throughout. I think, unless we have any other comments on the specific episodes, let's get into Yachio and Ponko.
I just want to mention a couple of my favorite episodes before we move away from, because I did mention episode 4, of course. Episode 9 with Ponko's wedding and Grandma's funeral combined. That was such a crazy episode to watch. Because, well, I'm like, this feels so uncomfortable. They're walking down the aisle with Grandma's dead body.
With the
coming
wings
after them.
And halo above her.
Oh my god. And it just continues to get even stranger. And I'm like, this is such a trip, this episode.
It was the wackiest episode. But once again, Yachio for most of the episode is in her kind of I can't even say the word. In her like tread legs and like pincer, like she's still broken from earlier. And one line is just, "Are you gonna have me fixed by the wedding?" And then the next shot is her perfectly back to normal. Like it just felt,
especially when they've kind of already established that parts are in short supply. And while we know that Ponko is a genius and was able to bring her back to life in the first place, I feel like there should have been more like, oh, are we going to dismember your fellow AI robots to give you new parts? Fixed. I feel like that would have been quite the discussion.
And it's funny because some of the resolutions like that are like lame to me, but other resolutions are funny because they're so easily solved, such as in episode 2, where the alien comes to visit, stays at the hotel for a while, he goes to leave, and they're like, "Oh, you have to pay." And he's like, "I don't have any money." And they're like, "Oh, it's just laying around here." And they just walk to the bank, pick up all the money that's just sitting there, and bring it to the hotel. And they're like, "Here's your payment." Perfect. Like, that's an easy resolution that has comedic implications. Her just getting fixed because we want her to do a weird magic trick in the middle of a funeral wedding is a wild statement.
Oh my
but also, it doesn't add
cutting the dead body in half.
Yeah.
For a magic trick. That was good.
Yeah, it was a wild episode. I'll give you that.
So episode 9 and then episode 11, as you mentioned, was one of the best ones because so much of it was just silent. It was just, Yachio walking around Tokyo in a desolate area because we barely left the area that we were in. We don't know what the rest of the world really looks like outside of the hotel and that one area that they fought the noodle. So I know it is funny. So Yachio just going on a camping trip just to rediscover herself was really good.
Yeah. And
all right, so let's move on to what you want to talk about.
I already told you I did like episode 11 a lot as well. I thought it was really well done. I did also enjoy, what was the other episode I enjoyed? No, like I said, I enjoyed 1, 2. I enjoyed the Harmy episode because I thought it was just kind of silly. I did like the mecha battle. I thought that was really well done, but I think why it happened was really stupid. I liked episode 11 because it was a more quiet reflection. Also, we never did find out why that alien died in episode 10, right? That just kind of happened.
I think we do know. So
because of what happens in episode 12?
No. So Ponko, she has a child named Tamako, the little pink-haired lady.
Yeah.
She would like run and like touch and like reach for candy, and every time she did that, the aliens would start like scratching their neck and like showing allergic reaction. So she was the murderer. Her viruses killed those visiting aliens.
That makes sense. I am not a fan of that character, by the way.
It is another unruly children annoyance that just kind of makes things hectic for everyone, which is what children do. I get that, but it just doesn't make it very enjoyable. When she's like dancing on the console screen of the video movie theater, and it's like raising the screen. Like, it's funny, but it's also more annoying than anything else.
She's no Ponko.
She's no Ponko.
Nope. Yeah. But overall, like I said, in the last episode, I didn't actually think it was that good, to be honest.
I love that humanity does come back, and they reject Earth. I love the
well, no, Earth rejects them. Yeah, technically. Well, I think the show always has like these great moments, like with Baby-O or whatever is Baby, or I forget what he's called.
The
whatever.
environmental checker robot.
Yeah, like when he gives all the data, and there's like this moment where you're like, he's sort of like contemplating the end of his existence or usefulness as a robot, but then they don't really do anything with that. And it's just anyway, that's my problem with the show. Otherwise, I think it was fine for the most part. I had no real issues with it, other than I feel like it always gets close to having some interesting conversation, and then it kind of just like sidesteps it or sort of just resolves it in like somewhat unsatisfying way. But yeah, but overall it was fine. I know we wanted to go more into like some character stuff though with some people.
Yeah.
Oh, but just to round out our discussion on episode 12, because I also thought the fact that humanity comes back but can no longer live there, I thought was very bittersweet, and I did like it until I really thought about it, and I realized that all sorts of alien beings from all sorts of different planets and all corners of the solar system come to planet Earth and can be there, no problem. But humanity, 500 years in the future, apparently on a whole, cannot tolerate the atmosphere of Earth because they are now allergic to it. And yet every alien being does not have this problem. That irritates me.
Fair. So character-wise, I think a lot of them were actually kind of plain, kind of weak. I do think Yachio was phenomenal. Her growth was brilliant. And I thought Ponko was pretty good as well. But for most of the rest of the cast, it was pretty one-note, basic, not very complex, which is fine. You have a lot of characters going in and out. But I feel like Yachio is almost, in my mind, Mao Mao levels of like carrying the show on her back with just being such an exceptional main character that it kind of helps excuse and mask the weaknesses of other characters.
Yeah, I do wish that they gave more character to the rest of the robotic staff, because for the most part, except for Yachio and the doorman, who just, I mean, he doesn't really have much of a personality, but he can at least talk. The other characters don't really get the opportunity to make themselves more than just a robot that goes beep beep boop. And Friggy, I think you can relate.
Cute. His like frowning, scared face when Ponko is like campaigning at him that there's going to be poop everywhere and thus flies everywhere, and he's just like, oh god. But yeah.
Correlating new information for further discussion. I can relate, yes.
But just to speak to Yachio's brilliance as a character, because really the whole point of the show, I feel like, is that things that you might think are stagnant and consistent and unchanging do shift over time. And her growth, even as a robot living in a world with no people, like her growth is amazing. For example, in like episode 3, when the Tanukians show up and she thinks humans might have arrived, she is giddy, she is bouncing, she is like going off the wall. She is so excited that what she's been waiting for might be here. And then when humans finally do arrive in episode 12, the giddy one is Ponko. Ponko is excited. Humans might be here. But Yachio is just like, she's been through this before. She has her doubts. She's grown as someone who could doubt and be reflective on like what this really means. And like seeing that is just an example of thousands of things that happen throughout this series of growth and evolution and change, from the gags, from doorman robot. Like there's so many ways that the show progresses, and that was probably the most rewarding part about watching this show for me.
I think the most rewarding part was when the human acknowledges the shampoo hat, and that is what makes Yachio's entire existence worth it.
Yeah.
Is the damn shampoo hats.
The shampoo hat, the noodle food, how that became the thing. Like there's so much. The gags are great because they're both funny, they're symbolic, and they're plot relevant. And they're just so tasteful. And the gags they're not usually big gut-busting loud moments. As Caroline said, they're more sensible chuckles, whether they're poop jokes or the macabre, whether they're clever wordplay or just like really involved mechanisms. Like one of the funniest things is like the door robot opens the door and they do a slow-mo of like how his like head revolves around 180 and his hands like rotate around. Like there's just this highly complex, detailed animation that they put into just him opening a door. Like he is so built for this that they show all of that with these delightful mechanics. It's brilliant. It's so good. And it's not like haha funny, but it's something I really appreciated. But why do you like Punko so much? To get back to
I don't know. I
why
mean,
she's
I
so
just
much fun.
think because she's a child character, but she is not too annoying.
That's
And
fair.
she is usually the voice of reason a lot of times. And it has and she enjoys, yeah. And she brings a lot of jokes. I feel like she's a great foil for Yachio and their friendship. Like at the end, when Yachio just pulls her into a hug, and I'm like, you're a robot who has learned love.
And
And
starts
so that
spewing out the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't huge on the little achievement power-ups she got, but they were
No,
funny.
I loved it. I thought it was so funny. Like achievement, punch a guest. Call a guest stupid.
But then it was like,
Get lost
you
in
unlock the ability
space.
to cross your eyes. Like it's silly, but I don't know. She's becoming human. She whistled. I do like the environmental checker robot. I thought he was funny. I love his like Chekhov's cannon, where for episode 1, episode 2, he keeps wanting to, or not episode 1, but he keeps wanting to blow up things, and he keeps on going into this big cannon mode, and you keep on waiting for him to unleash it, and he never does until they're fighting the big noodle, and he finally does the big holy shit cannon, and it just like blings off him, and it's like you have all the suspense and it goes to nothing. But I do like how they kind of took a backseat with him, because he would have been annoying if he was in every episode doing his silly routine. So I think they used the characters tastefully to not grow tired of them, at least from my perspective. I like how their 10 commandments became the 12 commandments, kind of expanded with the facilities. I thought the show looked good, it sounded good, the editing, the directing, it was just all very well done as a whole. And I know I kind of just quickly grouped a bunch of things together, but nothing really stood out as being, oh, this was a big misstep.
Yeah, and then going back to the OP, which we talked briefly about, but you can't not love a classic dance OP.
If you're dancing in the OP, I'm sold.
Yeah.
It was a little weird mishmash of tones at times with how happy the dancing in the song was, and then suddenly like, oh no, I'm in the shadows and I'm reaching out mournfully, and then we're happily dancing again, and I get it, but I felt like the show balanced a lot of that a lot better, so I thought it was well done.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? Any gags you thought were really fun? I mean, I could probably just talk about those things for another 2 hours, but I don't want to just spoil the jokes of this show. Like, people, you either know the show and you've seen it and you enjoy it.
We've given you a rundown of everything that happens in the show, but we will be damned if we spoil all the gags.
Joke. I don't know. There's so many little.
I mean, honestly, you laugh, but like that is actually very true when it comes to a show like this in the grand scheme of things, where I think a lot of the story itself is actually not that as important. I think it's just a lot of moments, and the gags are some of the, I wouldn't say better parts of the show. I could kind of like take them or leave them, but that is an experience as part of the show that is better to be kept preserved from the people, I guess, in a way.
I guess what I like so much about the gags is, opposed to a lot of other shows, they didn't distract from what was going on. If they did like a reference, whether it to be to Tremors or Dune or The Shining, like it all worked in what was happening in the show, or they were so minor. For example, this alien comes to visits and he goes to leave in his spaceship, and the spaceship has these big fluttering wings. Think of like the Snitch from Quidditch from Harry Potter. So this thing is like starting to gear up, and the wings are fluttering faster and faster and faster, and then they just stop, and the spaceship just lifts off, like levitates. Like, you expect the wings to be what makes it move, and it just doesn't happen. It just subverts your expectations for no reason other than it's kind of funny, but it doesn't distract from the fact that the alien's leaving or the emotional relevance of what's going on. It just was a nice, I don't know, it was good. There's those moments peppered throughout every episode that I found really engaging to hunt and search for. And I'm sure if I rewatched the show, that's where I would get a lot of rewatchability from, as opposed to all that stuff. So are we ready to score this thing?
And one last thing, Punko's brother, I wish they did more with him because it just felt like he was there and didn't do anything.
He made some really good pottery that an alien that soon died complimented.
I know, but like it just felt like they just didn't know what to do with him, and then kind of just made him a hippie.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny that Punko grew up, so then we expected him to grow up, and he was still a child for a while. Like she got married and everything,
But
but
it does
he was
seem
still
like
in
they
baby
grow
mode.
up after like
It's like a sudden
a night.
Yeah,
You know, it's a sudden thing.
but no, and it was an enjoyable show. I can just go first. It was an enjoyable show.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Well, actually, one last thing before we go into final thoughts. Actually, I did just remember something I thought would be interesting to bring up. Was the passage of time really that much of an effect? Like a lot of the times it felt like they told us many years passed, but it actually never felt like that was the case, except for when she was like lost in space and there were actual changes. But for the most part, it never felt like the passage of time on Earth barely really affected. Like the fact that the show takes place over like what 500-600 years doesn't ever really seem like the case for like most of the show.
Get it just in that they now have a hotel, a hot springs. They have a launch pad. They have new facilities. They have the tree growing. Like it's very minor. Most of the characters are operating on a lifespan, on a time scale that are in the thousands of years. So to them, it's been 500 years since you worked here. Like that's nothing. And that's interesting to me.
And I did really like so early on we were introduced to like a ghost ship with humanity dead on the ship, and I thought that meant humanity is like actually dead and we are not going to touch on that. Yachio's never going to find out that they're actually all deceased, except then they kind of puts it on its head and like, no, they're still alive, they're just in a different ship. I kind of wish it was that dark on the outskirts of things, but oh well.
That's fair. Anything else, Andrew?
Oh, nope. We can go into
you wanna lead us off?
Sure. The show itself had a lot more potential, and it didn't really fully utilize it, in my opinion. I don't think it's bad in any respects. I think it was actually a pretty solid show for the most part. It looked good in a lot of different places, so that was really good. Cygames, I would have believed this was based off of some kind of like hotel management sim type of cell phone game they're planning on releasing or have released. This being original is kind of funny, but I also wouldn't put it past them that if we get a Gingaro mobile game in the future, kind of like how like Uma Musume and all that stuff. So yeah, for the most part, it was fine. I enjoyed it. It didn't grip me, but I wish it went further in some places. And it never also went too far, which is also kind of good. I give it a solid 3.5 exploding doorman robots out of 5.
Excellent.
Okay. So I thoroughly enjoyed the show, even despite the few episodes I didn't like, but I don't know if you could tell, that's the only con I really had with the show is a few episodes that were not my favorite. Just like a fairly, unique, fresh type of show that I enjoyed. And so therefore, and also an original anime, which for me, usually they kind of fall off or don't even get started before they even fall off. And the fact that this one started off well and ended well is kind of rare. So I will give this show 4 achievement awards that end in Yachio barfing water out of 5.
Nice. I really wanted to give this show a 4, but I think my expectations, whether it be from the first 2 episodes, the consensus I've been hearing online, maybe raised my expectations too high. And as good as it was on a production standpoint, as good as it was for an original, some great moments, phenomenal comedy. I felt like some of the character drama, some of the emotional beats, some of the resolutions were just a little too underwhelming. And as far as like Tanuki flavored comedy goes, like I prefer works like The Eccentric Family, which still probably occupies my top spot in just that kind of vibe that I'm looking for. So I am going to agree with Andrew once again. That's what I've been doing all day. I'll give this 3.5 green shower caps out of 5. I think this is really engaging and refreshing, and I could see it going up on a rewatch, but for now, I feel good sticking with that. And that will do it for this episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for the support. Hopefully you can check us out live now that we're at 10 a.m. Eastern once again on Sundays at Twitch and YouTube. Check out the Discord. It's so much fun. We got an anime club and so much other discussions going on. Support us if you want at AAAPodcast.com. We have hentai episodes, hobby episodes, which we're about to do, after parties. So much good times to be had. Next week, we are doing a review of Dragon Ball Daima, I think. I know Mitz kind of just moved the schedule around a bit, so I don't know if that's still applicable. I'll let you know if it's not. But that's all I got. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Andrew. I think
You're welcome.
I think you're Andrew. I'm still in the woods.
The plan has worked.
Anyway, we will see you guys next week.
Don't suspect a thing.
Until then, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.